Hello, my name is Mr. Curtis, and this is a panda bear. Oh, it's Bruce with a panda bear hand puppet. And that's because today we're making puppets. That's right. There's many different kinds of puppets. There are rod puppets, there are string puppets, marionettes, glove puppets. Today we're starting the process of making our own rod puppet. What is a rod puppet? Well, here's an example of a rod puppet that I made for a video called Everybody Gets a Synthesizer for Christmas. And this guy's name is Synthesizer Alan. And he is basically a head on a stick. And then the body is built around him. So the puppeteer holds the stick and then operates the arms using the arm rods. So we'll be making puppets very similar to this, using the same materials. We're using just household materials or easily found materials. And we're going to start that process. Bruce really loves his puppet. Okay, well, Bruce, do you think you can stop enough to get started on making your own puppet? What do you think? Okay, great. All right, so let's get started. Down you go, Bruce, and off goes Bruce to his puppet making station. Let's go. Okay, puppets. Now, puppets can be made out of lots of different kinds of material. Today, we're going to be using this clay that we made just last week for your miniature sculpture. We'll be using a little bit of this, but we won't be making the whole head out of this clay. I tried it once, and this clay is not great for making larger pieces. It's really best for making smaller things, so we're going to be using this as an option for making features, but the main thing we're going to be using to make your puppet head out of is a material that I like a lot. It is masking tape. So just regular old masking tape. We're going to be using a lot of that. I like to call it easy paper mache because it's basically paper and glue on a roll, and you can use that for sculpting things. You're going to need a piece of cardboard. That's for just placing your pieces of clay that you're going to make, so you have some place to put them and transport them so they can dry. Also, you're going to need some of these. These are wooden or bamboo skewers. Mine are wood. Any kind of skewer is fine, but skewers really work the best for this. And I think that's all. Oh, maybe you might need a little bit of water for when you're working with the clay, because the water just is great for smoothing things out. But that's sort of optional if you're using the clay. So what we're going to do is this skewer is going to be our rod for our puppet head. So we're going to build the head on top of this rod, and then we're also going to be using two of these rods for the hands. So we're going to be making the head, and we're also going to be making some hands. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. So first of all, let's just put this aside. We'll just put that aside for now, and I'm going to get out the masking tape. Okay, so masking tape. What you're going to do first is we're going to make a head out of this, and what I do is take about 4 to 5 arm lengths of tape. So an arm length is where you put your arm out like this and you measure the tape as long as your arm, approximately, and then you're going to make a bunch of loops like that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and go 5, and I think that's going to be good. Let's see. And then you're going to have yourself a nice loose ball of tape. Crumple that up so it's nice and tight. Okay, nice tight ball of tape. Okay, there we go. All right, well, what I like to do is start looking for faces in this little ball. I've noticed right away the way I crumpled it, there's kind of a bit of a hole right here, and that's starting to look to me like some kind of a mouth, or maybe it looks maybe the upper lip of a frog. It could be. Yeah, actually I don't mind that. That's pretty good. The upper lip of a frog. Oh, I can work with that. Maybe I'm making a frog puppet. Well, in that case, I'm going to have to fill this in here, I think, a little bit. So, I'm going to make myself another little bit of ball of tape here. Okay. And I'm going to just add that in here. I'm going to use some tape to add that in to make my little mouth of my character. Oh, he's going to have a big, snarly lip there, looks like. Okay. Yeah. This is looking. It's going to be interesting. Okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding some tape on here. The more tape you add, the smoother it's going to get. And when you're sculpting with masking tape, you're never going to get things super smooth, but or at least it's very difficult to. You have to have a lot of patience and use lots of little pieces. But you know, I don't mind the sort of wrinkled look that you get. It's like paper mache. It's got that quality to it. It sort of gives it character. So I'm working on a bit of a mouth here. At first I thought it was a frog, but now it's kind of looking a little different, maybe a little bit old personish, which I don't mind in the least. And let's see, here we go. When you're folding tape over like this and I want to smooth this area out, then what I sometimes do is where it's folding here, then I'll just rip it like that, and then I can lay this down sideways. Oops, and that helps to smooth it out a little bit. Okay, so I'll tell you my plan here. What I've done in the past is I've made whole heads, features and everything, noses, things like that, out of masking tape. But my plan this time is I'm going to use some of this clay to make some of the features out of. So I might make a nose out of that clay. I might make some eyes. If this is going to be a frog, then I could make some bulging eyes with that clay. Yeah, it's starting to look kind of like a bit of a lizardy, froggy type of thing. And then we are going to paint this afterwards when our clay is dry, and we're going to finalize it, give it some details. Okay, it's coming along. This is going to be a lizard of some kind. I'm going to make some bulging eyes to go into these eye sockets, and we'll see. That face can be closed, or it could be a turtle maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think he's going to have some bulging eyes anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and take my skewer, and I'm going to put this right in his head. Oops, I wanted to make sure I get in the back here. So I'm just pushing and twisting to get it to go all the way in. There we go. So that is the beginning of my puppet head. It's a head on a stick. Okay, now it's time to get out the clay. All right, a little bit of leftovers from last time should be relatively moist, and if it's not very moist, you can always add a little bit of water and work that in, knead it into your dough, and that'll help to liven it up again. Okay, so I'm going to be making some very small eyes for this guy, and they can be round, and the trick is to make them the right size, hey? Whoa, a little bit big. So we're going to make that a little bit less here. Now what I'm going to do is roll these into balls, because this clay is very affected by gravity. So once you set it down, it's going to naturally have a flat surface where however it's sitting. If I just tap it down a little bit. So one of these eyes might be a little bigger than the other. I don't mind. I think it's fine. Okay, there we go. We got some eyes and hands. Yes, hands. Okay, now, whoop, there goes his head. We're going to use these skewers to make the hole in the side of the hand. So where you want that to go is you want the hand, the skewer is going to get glued in this way, because this skewer here is going to be your hand control rod. So it's not going to be the arm, it's going to be the control rod. And that'll make more sense once we start working on the body. So I'm just going to work this skewer in here. I'm going to make that a part of my hand. Okay, now the other option you have for hands is, instead of using the clay, you can also use masking tape to make your hands. So what I like to do is make yourself a nice little ball of tape again. Okay, and this time you just need about two, not arm lengths, but two just lengths of tape. And this time you're making a nice flat sort of cookie shape, okay? So just a small little cookie like that, okay? A little flat cookie, because our hands are kind of flat, okay? And so to replicate that, you want to flatten your piece of tape. So I've done that. And now we're going to make some fingers on here. So to make the fingers, what I like to do is something called a sticky stick of tape. And how I do that is I'm going to put this on the table. I've just stuck one side on the table. The other side is loose. And then what you do is, with that loose side, you take your fingers and you're just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth a whole bunch of times until it starts to roll up on itself. You roll it right up, and then you've got yourself a stick of tape that's sticky, okay? There it is, a sticky stick. Now what we're gonna do with that is we're gonna make fingers out of it. So I'm gonna need my scissors. So I'm gonna cut, now I've determined that this character has 2 fingers and a thumb. I think with this method, I think I'm gonna give him 3 fingers and a thumb. So these are the fingers. And because they stick, I can stick them right to, this is I think the back of the hand here, right to the blob of tape here. And then I'm going to make another sticky stick for the thumb. And with the thumb, I like to bend it in half because our thumbs are bigger than our fingers. And I guess this is going to be a right hand. Okay, so that alone looks not so great, okay? It definitely looks like a hand, but it's not going to stay together. So what we have to do is add some layers of tape around that, and that is going to help hold everything together. It's going to thicken up everything. Okay, what I love about these masking tape hands is that you can curl the fingers and you can bend them and really give them a lot of character once you've got them together. Okay, so we've got ourselves a little lizard man hand. Here we go, or lizard woman. I don't know the gender of this lizard person, but we got ourselves a little hand here. And so now what we do is we're going to need to attach it to a stick. So I've got myself a stick here. I'm going to attach it to the side, which is you just take it and you twist it in like that. And because there's tape inside, it's going to stick. Okay, now it's all ready for paint. So I just need to make another one of those. And I've got myself a masking tape hand. There we have our work for today. The next step is deciding which hands I want to keep and then painting. That's for next time. And there you have it. It doesn't look like very much yet, but remember, all great things have small beginnings. And so this little lump of tape on a stick is going to turn into a real moving character. In just a couple of weeks, we've got 2 more lessons planned, which are going to be different parts of this puppet. And we're going to put it all together, and you'll have yourself your own rod puppet. In the meantime, I wonder how Bruce did with his puppet building today. Let's have a look. Hey Bruce, how's it going? Oh, still with the panda bear puppet, I see. Let's see how you did with your own puppet building. Oh, well, this looks familiar. This is the miniature sculpture that I made about a week ago. Well, I guess this is found art for Bruce. Anyway, till next time, keep thinking creatively and be kind to yourself.